He will have to let me know if he does, because, like I've mentioned in the past, Facebook eats my bandwidth. So I never use it whenever we're streaming and recording and such. Are we live? We are live. You're live now. Hi, everybody. Ooh, I need to add another parentheses here. Play more Final Fantasy VIII tonight?
Just a little.
More cards?
Not collecting. Just, well, I guess I have started collecting. I've started fighting people. But not too many. I got the mini Mog, though. I mean, I was like, yeah, I mean, it's a nice card, but with the 9s at the top and the bottom and just these small-ass normals on the side, I'm like, there's only so much I can do with this.
I'll be honest, that's a lot of the cards. Like, I was looking in the book earlier, and a lot of the cards are like that in the game. The trick is to balancing it and...
Oh, I know. I mean, that I actually, you know, I haven't lost a game.
I lost
yet.
one. I lost one and I reloaded because I'm playing with good cards, so they took my best cards. Alright. Let's go play against Dr. Katawaki some more. Because Dr. Katawaki's got good cards. Also, if you play cards against the Trapeze, you can get Quistis's card.
Yeah, I know. I just haven't made it a way around there yet.
Are you watching the stream?
No.
Okay, I didn't know if you were or not. I have probably half the cards in the game now. What I need 2 more Marlboros. I need 15 more El Noils. And what else did I need? Something else. Oh, and I need 1 more Adamantoise. The 15 more El Noils will be a little bit easier once I get back from the exam. That shows you how much card playing I can do in the 2 hours that I don't have on the stream. Do you still say they don't count like you did yesterday?
I don't know, it depends on how hardcore you want to stream it. Some people stream everything, some people don't.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to keep the best contents on there, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want it to all be grind and card game, if I can help it. But I'm planning on keeping a lot of... I'm gonna, you know, get back to doing the more interesting stuff for the later, as it goes forward. And I think the more interesting stuff is, you know, joking about the actual game itself, because man, this game's got a lot of goofy, wonderful stuff in it. Oh man.
Yep, you have a completely different strategy than I do.
Really?
Yeah, my first move every time is Ifrit at the bottom corner.
You see, if I do that, I get a draw more often than not.
I've never gotten a draw from that.
See, I'd rather...
Stop shaking it!
While the rules are still in my favor, I'd rather play it safe.
No, the Ethernet cable is larger. What?
While the rules are still in my favor, I'm preferring to play it safe. Like, once the all rule goes into effect or whatever, or any of that kind of garbage, yeah, I'll have to stop playing the way that I do. But until then...
Honestly, the open rule makes it so damn simple.
Yeah, it does. It's the other more sinister rules that come up later on that make it worse. Do I have my book at close reach? I do. By the time they go to Timber, I'm gonna have at least 2 out of the 3 characters to a like really high-end weapon. So after that, I'm gonna have to get clever, I guess, and get all my status junction stuff a little bit better as well, because I haven't started working on a lot of that kind of stuff. Whenever I'm doing the exam, I need to remember to summon, to draw Siren, though. Thought about that earlier, and the fact that I haven't, like, planned for that at all, if that makes sense. I've been focused more on my card garbage. I know, come on. Aw, lame. Lame. Oh well. Draw. Any word from Trent yet?
Nope.
I guess we'll do the gaming show, and if he joins this weekend, it'll be for the book show. And whenever he does, make sure I update the description for the video for the book review podcast on here. All right. You wanna bring us in once you're got the recording going?
I did last week.
You want me to do it this week?
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem doing that. Just let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, you good.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Z-Trigger Podcast. My name is William Hill.
I'm Brandon Harris.
And we have yet another evening of wonderful video game-related excitement. And if you are watching us on YouTube, you are also watching us play some Final Fantasy VIII. A lot of card gaming is going to be in this tonight, unfortunately. How you doing, Brandon?
Pretty good.
That's good. What you been playing this week?
Trails of Cold Steel, Final Fantasy VIII. That's pretty much it. I thought I'd play other stuff, but it decided not to.
So, at long last, you have bought Trails of Cold Steel and are playing it. I need to know what you think about it, because I've been trying to tell you to play this game since I finally got it for the PS3 a while back. And you're playing on PC, right?
Mm-hmm. We didn't talk about this last week?
No, you did the stream on... you did the stream of this on Saturday. Because, yes, Brandon actually streamed last week, which is awesome.
I did.
Yes. Very happy that you streamed.
Okay. Well, actually, we talked about it on another stream. We got several streams. People should watch them all because we actually talk on some of them.
That's true, we do.
I like it. It's fun. It's surprisingly amount of fun compared to what we get nowadays. I really figured it was just. I really didn't have a lot of expectations. Mostly because it being an anime influenced game, I'm like, yeah, it's probably just going to be very dull and not to my liking. But so far, it's been well-rounded. It's not going out of its way to play up every single damn anime trope in existence,
which is
such
a relief.
Yeah, and that has caused me to enjoy it quite a bit.
I was, I'd read the reviews and I'd heard that it was good, and I wasn't dreading it by any means. I was actually looking forward to playing it. I need to get back to it, to be honest. But then, when I started playing it, when I actually sat down and played what I have of that game, I was kind of astonished that it was as good as it is. Because I'm so conditioned at this point to be... Oh, shit. To be completely irritated by the majority of Japanese role-playing games that are not like got the words Final Fantasy in the title at this point, because most of them are obsessed with crappy anime tropes and fan service every goddamn where. Not that this game's completely innocent of that, but it's better.
Honestly, it's only had, as far as I can tell, it's only had one instance of like, and that's not even fan service. At least where I'm at, you know, there's no ass shots. There's no like, let's zoom up on these gigantic pair of tits shots. The only thing that comes close is when the guy jumps to save the girl from injuring herself, and he lands under her in her cleavage. That's as close as it gets so far for me, and of course it does play up the anime trope of course the Japanese female would get angry, even though clearly I don't see how it was his fault. That's the thing that puzzles my mind, because no matter what anime it is, when it happens, it's, you know, half the time it's not even the guy's fault. Even if, say, like half the time it happens, you know, someone's taking a bath, and even when the guy is taking the bath, it's his fault. And I'm always like, why? And it's always, you know, the hot-headed, stereotypical anime female, and what gets me is like it's in almost every show nowadays, and I don't understand why, other than just so they can have comedy. But I wish that, God, I'm gonna get into an anime rant here, because I know anime can be done better, and it doesn't have to rely on those stupid ass tropes to be successful. But thankfully, this game does not. I mean, it has some tropes, like it has the teacher that's, you know, an alcoholic, who's like laid back, but can be a force to be reckoned with if you fuck with her. It has the overachieving female anime type, who may or may not have insecurity problems. It has the male who is basically like, hey, I'm the guy who holds everyone together. I'm like, you know, the submissive of the entire party, and everyone, you know, goes through me to make sure everyone stays happy, because around me everyone can just be laid back. With Elliot, and then, you know, you have your main character who, thank God, is not a silent protagonist. Not that I have anything against those type, but I'm generally finding that I like my people to talk and have an actual identity, other than, hey, this is just a stand-in for me. Unfortunately, so many can't do that, though some people can't do the whole scripted talk either. Let's see. I've just gotten to my first field study. To me, it appears it's just going to be what I was already doing around the university or school, or of course, you know, of course, there is a school. There's always a school.
There's always a school. In the socially driven JRPGs, anyway.
Yeah, and, you know, of course, you know, the nobles are dressed in white and have their own house, and they're not allowed to mingle with everyone else, and they have their maids and butler. I'm like, Jesus. Oh, and they're assholes. Well, no, actually, there's only been one set of assholes. Everyone else has been fairly nice for the most part, actually.
As for the exam part,
there's an exam.
Yeah, well, the field work that you're doing. Whenever it all centers around a story beat as well. So like you will do like one big like dungeony part at the end of it. Oh,
yeah, because that's what sort of happened with the first set of tasks you do at school. It eventually ends in a dungeon.
Yeah. So
it wasn't a very long dungeon, but it was still a dungeon.
Yeah, I mean, none of it's like, you know, outstays its welcome or anything. So, but no, I need to get back to that game, and yet here I am playing Final Fantasy VIII for God only knows how manyth times. But I've got a goal this time. I'm gonna
it definitely seems to be quite the grindy of a game. You do not level up very often.
Nope, you do not. I wish that you did, because that's actually what held me up, is that I was like, you know, I can totally do these next quest. I can totally take on this next quest and be just fine. That was not true. It was quite false, in fact, and I have not recovered yet. So, and I just got to draw lame.
But I've not had any troubles with, even though I can't level up that often. I'm not struggled anywhere. I pretty much have the linking attacks down. I'm able to unbalance people fairly regularly. So I've not really had any troubles. I'm not. I can't really have anything negative to say about the combat. I hate the card game. Fuck the card game. Why is there a card game?
Because Final Fantasy VIII had a card game, and after that, every game had to have a card game.
I guess so.
I mean, that's a terrible reason, but it's the fact.
I suck at this one. I can play 8. I can play 9s. This one I am no good at. I have won 2 out of like the 8 or 10 that I tried to do. At one point in time, I got so pissed off because the blue-haired girl kept beating me that I'm like, I am not leaving this fucking train until I beat you in a match.
I'm gonna reset my game because I just blew it on another card game. What was that about hating card games in role-playing games? At least I know how to play this one, unlike Pazik from Knights of the Old Republic.
I didn't even try that one.
I tried and failed miserably. As for me, this is about the only thing I played this week, except for I've been playing Gran Turismo on the PSP.
Lord.
Which, as you know, when you play Gran Turismo, what have you got to do in there? You got races, you got cars to buy, and you've got license tests.
Do they still have that?
I don't know if they're in anything after 3, and this, it's not even a license test, it's the challenge mode. It's still the goddamn license test.
Yeah, I mean, that was like the one feature in those games I did not like, because it blocked you off from parts of the game.
This one, it does not. You can literally go to any race right out of the gate. It's not as structured as I kind of like my racing games to be. And its entire basis for its challenge is unusual. And by the way, our friend in the chat has just informed me that Gran Turismo 5 does in fact have the license test. So
why do they hold on to this stupid archaic idea? You don't see Project Gotham Racing having those.
Well, Project Gotham Racing is an arcade game, not a sim.
Well, I mean,
you should be saying that Forza does not have it.
Yeah, I mean, didn't they spawn from like the same developer?
I don't think so. I think that Turn 5 is not a Japanese studio, and Polyphony Digital is in fact a Japanese studio.
Yeah, but Forza definitely doesn't do it. I know that.
Yeah, and Forza's.
Honestly,
I
when it comes
like Forza more.
Well, honestly, when you really think about it, Forza has actually overtaken the whole racing sim. For one, they can get the games out in a decent amount of time, while Gran Turismo takes years for no reason whatsoever. Which one was it that just seemed like it just took absolutely for? Was it 4?
I think it was 4 because they also did that stopgap game.
That prelude or whatever. It's just ridiculous how much time they spend on it, and they don't actually. It doesn't amount to anything.
Oh, well, they've got the prettiest graphics in the planet, but
no, they don't.
So does Forza.
To me, Forza looks amazing. Every time I see one, I'm like, God, this looks great.
It almost makes you wish that that you enjoyed racing games more, doesn't it?
I mean, I don't dislike racing games. I just don't buy them that often. Because you want to know why?
Because they're all the same?
No, because of fucking Gran Turismo 3 and their shitty-ass license tests.
Well, if you ever do cave and buy a Xbox One, You don't have to worry about that there.
Nope. Just have to figure out which Forza is the most recent Forza, because they have two different series for some reason. You got Horizon, then you got Forza.
Got my next Adamantoise card. Sweet. So I now have enough Adamantoise cards. I am totally going to save before I botch a hand and have to reload again. But as for the PSP game, it's alright. There are no surprises in it whatsoever. You still got Laguna Seca, and Laguna Seca's still a ravaging dick to make that giant turn through.
Eek.
And I'm still having to like go through and buy tons of cars as the game goes on, because although there's one thing I do hate is that you can't you have to wait for certain days in the game to buy certain brands of cars. So
why?
I don't know, but like every day there's only like 4 or 5 brands available, and if I could actually drive those lovely Aston Martins that I always make sure that I buy whenever I play a racing game like that. To answer the question, to answer the 2 questions that I've got in the chat, no, the other person on here is not from the Sticky Paddle channel. Brandon is part of the Z-Trigger podcast as well, and the other host on our live streams, he's done a recent bit of the Trails of Cold Steel, and I have 6 Iron Giant cards. Sorry to derail that, Brandon. But you are not from another podcast or another channel. You are part of this thing that we do. Alright, so yeah, Gran Turismo, not bad. I have the thing is, I've gotten 8 PSP games since I reacquired a PSP.
Mm-hmm.
So
what made you pick these up?
They're cheap. And I'm enjoying my and they're the games I didn't get to pick up whenever I had a PSP in the first place. So like I didn't get Gran Turismo because by the time I sold my PSP so that I could afford the move to Louisiana, that was a terrible card to play there. I couldn't do so. I couldn't buy that game at that point because I didn't have a console to play it on.
Most of my games for my PSP are the RPGs. I'm trying to think if I have anything else, and outside of Peace Walker, I don't think I do. It was definitely a RPG machine for me.
Yes, indeed. You don't wait a minute. You don't have Peace Walker?
No, I said outside of Peace Walker, there's just RPGs. As in, Peace Walker's my only non-RPG on the system.
Wait a minute, you don't have Portable Ops?
No.
Wait a minute, you had Portable Ops whenever I remember you having Portable Ops.
Maybe I do. I don't remember. I don't remember having Portable Ops.
I remember Portable Ops.
If I did, I did. If I did, I didn't play it.
I remember Portable Ops being a pain in the ass.
Well, that's what I thought about Peace Walker. Those games do not go meld well with the PSP. I will probably eventually rebuy Peace Walker on a home console just so I can have regular controls.
Oh, I've already done that. I have the collection because I didn't have a PSP and I wanted to play Peace Walker, and I still haven't played Peace Walker. I need to, so that the plot of Metal Gear 5 is a little bit more relevant to me and actually has any kind of impact. Alright, which of these lovely monsters do I want to take with me? Let's take the Ruby Dragon for this time. Do you have any idea how rare the damned Marlboro cards are?
I'm trying to remember if I've encountered any. I don't think I have.
I've got 6, and I need 2 more.
Well, they did say that you'll be playing the card game for quite a while.
Yes, indeed. But I want to move on. I wanted to do the exam while we did the podcast tonight. So, anyway, as for the podcast, let us do some podcast type stuff, because I've not played much. Anybody who's watching our channel and subscribing to our YouTube, they know what games they know what I've been playing this week, because I've been playing this. So, we have quite a few interesting things to chat about, I think. Where do you want to begin? Because I don't want to do the Steam chat right out the gate. I don't want us to go full-blown pissed off immediately.
Well, see, one of the things, I mean, that's kind of a lot of the things I was going to end up talking about. It's going to be ranting and raving. I was going to jump on about the whole damn Night Trap thing, because that pissed me off this morning.
Oh no!
You know, I did finally manage to get a copy, only because I was on the website with the page loaded, with PayPal signed in automatically, just so I can get a copy. The damn thing, I don't know how many copies they had in each run. It was a total of 5,000 copies, and the set that I was involved in sold out in 3 minutes. I don't think it was like this original set, but originally it was just buy as many copies as you wanted. At least that's what it sounded like, because they said on this final on the final batch that if you ordered more than one, that they were going to cancel your order, and any attempt to circumvent said rule would also cause your orders to be canceled. And I honestly think the only reason why I may have gotten one is because so many people were attempting to get the overpriced limited edition. I don't know, there was a second batch of those. I don't know how many was left on those, but I just barely managed to get one. And what got me was, it's like, I knew when I checked this one, I was like, I bet you this shit's going to be on eBay. So I went and looked, and sure enough, there was like 34 copies all on eBay. For like, if it was the regular version, it was 3 times the price. Actually, I think even the limited was just, yeah, there were 3 times the price of what you normally would have paid for them. And that's just so fucking irritating. What? I mean, you tell me, is it like this with like other mediums? I mean, I don't really see movies getting like Sears Limited anything like that. So I don't.
Well,
I can't.
The difference there is, I mean, like, limited run games is a brand name all by itself that says that that scalpers will be all the hell over it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, or do other mediums have this scalper problem? It just seems to me that gaming is hit so damn hard with this crap, because not even music really even goes through this. Like, yeah, you have people on like Record Store Day that would do it, but if you just wait just like a few days or even a day past Record Store Day, the prices plummet. They do not stay high, while this crap with gaming just stays high and goes even higher. Books, I know, don't have this. Yeah, I mean, there are some rare books, but you generally have a route of obtaining them.
Yeah, you don't see scalpers buying up entire runs of Subterranean Press novels.
No, and you know what? I've checked just to be sure. Like, I've just like any like really popular author that they sell a book from, like was it Robert McCormick?
Yeah.
I was like, mate, because they recently did a pre-order for Swan Song. You know, it's his most famous novel. I was like, I wonder if this is on eBay yet. Check, not a peep, not a single condition of saying, yay, guaranteed pre-order, nothing. So it just seems like gaming is the one medium that just get screwed over and over again by this crap. And I just don't understand why. Is it because we're fresh and new still? I mean, yeah, I know we're not exactly new, but we're still new relative to everything else.
It's very simple. We have expensive products that are getting small production runs, especially things like limited run games or the SNES Classic. And scalpers are going to do what? Whenever they find out that there's a market for something, they're going to punish people for wanting something. And by that I mean they're going to try and get as much money out of something as they possibly can. Alright, for a quick note, I am going to move on in the game to the exam because, frankly, I want to do the exam. So yeah, I hear you, Brandon, and I'm going to be dealing with the same thing later this month with this damned SNES Classic pre-order that Nintendo is going to be allowing this time. They're actually going to do pre-orders to the system, as we mentioned last week on the show. But I dread the pre-order process for this thing.
Hell, hey, just think, I managed to get one. It was canceled, but I did manage to get one before the site said sold out. So it's possible. Needless to say, I got lucky with that one because it just randomly appeared, and not a lot of people were able to jump on top of it yet.
Yeah.
But with that one, it would help a lot if all retailers would monitor and actually limit people to one per household. Not one per person, one per household.
One per address, period.
But that's the same thing.
Yeah, I'm just agreeing with you.
Yeah, most don't. Most just like, yeah, just knock yourselves out. It would be helpful because no one is going to be able to, unless they have like a bunch of computers open with a bunch of different accounts open. That'd just be really stupid.
Well,
but I guess I can see people doing it. I guess I can see people doing it, but it's just it's a lot of work for nothing. I mean, I guess I can't say nothing. I mean, they're going to make at least double to triple the value on it.
You see, it reminds me of that garbage last year. My sister on Facebook, she will follow all these like giveaway things, like Freebie Mom or whatever. Mm-hmm. And in that, I saw when she the contests, and this bitch, and I will say that because fuck this woman, she had like 12 goddamned NES Classics in these pictures. And
how the hell you get 12?
Exactly. And what?
Honestly, I think half that stuff might be fake.
Oh, no joke. But still, I mean, like, fuck you for even like putting up the front for it. And you know what? Some of them are British anyway. Like, she had British hardware too. So I don't know how she's getting it.
Any good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where she's getting it or any of this. I just, the entire thing just bugs me. So much.
Speaking of the NES Classic, did you notice that you see that GameStop actually got some somehow?
Oh, crap.
How'd you get these? Were you holding back?
They were.
That is some shit right there. They shouldn't be allowed to do that.
I agree, but I mean, it's not illegal for them to have done it. It's immoral as shit. Because I mean, the way that GameStop is selling high demand products right now, in general, is so shitty. Case in point, if you like, whenever the Switch is sold through their website or through the store, you have to buy a bundle now. You cannot just go to GameStop and buy a console.
That's stupid.
Because they're in such high demand that, I mean, on one hand, it does at least stop the scalpers, I think, because scalpers are having to pay out what $400 or $500 for the bundle whenever they do that. They don't want to do that. And they're not going to. So that means that people who want the system are going to get it. And that's good. I mean, it sucks that they're going to have to pay extra money for stuff that they don't want. But at least they're able to get the damn thing. That's how I got my NES Classic. I got a backpack and an NES Classic.
Oh, good God.
It was an additional, like, $30.
I just went on eBay just for shits and giggles to see how much the Switch is even going for, and it's still in the $400 range.
Jesus.
It's $459.99 if you got the. That's with the gray controllers with Breath of the Wild.
Wow.
That's ridiculous, man. I mean, I just. Some of these things like this, it's just like, people, why are you so damn impatient? I mean, I know that, I live in a smaller town, but, it's not uncommon for me to just go to my Walmart and say, hey, they got a Nintendo Switch. I've seen it at least 10 times since the consoles come out.
I've seen one. I have seen one now. The week that ARMS came out, I was in there the day ARMS came out. I didn't buy ARMS, but I was in there the day that ARMS came out, and I saw one in the case. So, yeah, just one time.
Yeah, maybe it's worse for a bigger city, but I know in smaller towns, if you go to a smaller town that happens to have Walmart and you want to switch, stop and check it. You just might get lucky. In fact, there's a good chance.
Yeah, because smaller towns, they may not have $300 to blow on a system that isn't as, appealing to some people. Because, I still see, even though this thing's selling like hotcakes and it's got a decent library of games already, there is a significant amount of hardcore, especially Microsoft types, that are bashing the ever-living hell out of the Switch and saying that it's dead on arrival and all this garbage. And it's not dead on arrival because it's got 4 titles that, they're all Nintendo published titles that are all like hit games. So
why is it dead on arrival?
It's dead on arrival because it's not an Xbox One X, which is already a system that people have stopped talking about.
Yeah, there's not been a word. There's not really anybody talking about the damn thing.
No,
and let's also focus on the fact that their fucking console, even years after release, still doesn't really have anything. Yeah, it has some games, but nothing that makes you want to go out like Breath of the Wild and buy a fucking console to play. So, here's 2 gigantic middle fingers. You can't see them, but they're there for your stupid-ass attitude.
To this day, I do not understand I don't understand the Microsoft fanboy this generation.
It's denial. They're in absolute denial. That is what it is. They cannot accept the fact that their company fucked up. They're still not fixing things, and they just don't want to admit to it. Yeah, there are going to be some people that are going to buy the One X, but it is not going to be the amount needed to turn that thing around to give them better games. The only people that are really going to be able to do anything with that console is Microsoft and the few AAA developers who actually give enough crap about their product to actually put forth the extra work and effort. That's not going to be that many. Most are just going to be a parody.
So far, it's not enough. And patching existing games for true 4K output is not it's not good enough. It's really
no, that's not good enough because if I wanted it before, I would have bought it before, but I didn't. It has nothing to do with if it's 1080 or 4K. If I thought it was a piece of crap then, I think it's going to be a piece of crap now.
Yeah, graphics are not what dictates a game being good or not. Which is why... Yeah, look at Order 1886. Yes.
May not be a horrible game, but let's face it, that game is very mediocre. It may look gorgeous, but it's still mediocre.
It is a significantly average game.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's an average third-person shooter that is gorgeous. Do I regret the $10 I spent on it? Nope. Do I regret the 8 hours that I spent getting the platinum? Absolutely not. But I spent 8 hours and I got the platinum on that game. If I paid $60 for that game, the story would be a lot different.
Oh, and speaking of games, and what the Microsoft does not have, I don't know if it's a timed exclusive, but you can count another top-notch game on Sony's side with Hellblade.
And this is not a Sony fanboy over here talking. It is impressive. 2017 has been very nice to
I
Sony.
do wish that the game came on a physical medium, but it doesn't. The whole mindset behind the game was to do an independent game that had all the bells and whistles of a AAA title while still having the independent pricing point. Which comes with that, since most independent games do not get physical releases, this one did not get a physical release, unless something like Limited Games gets a hold of it, which I hope they do. They should do that.
That would be cool.
But based on just what I've seen everyone talk about it, is quite the unnerving experience, because the main character has a psychosis, and they the Ninja Theory did a lot of research and interviews, and you really feel the horror from that the character goes through. So I look forward to playing it. I don't know when that'll be, because it is a digital only game. I don't buy many of those if I can help it.
Yeah, me.
I guess at some point I will have to, because it's the only way to play it.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of irritated. There's a game I want to get. I want to get A Night in the Woods.
A Night in the Woods.
Yeah, have you seen anything about that game?
Maybe the bell. Maybe the bell. That's a horror film. Not the wrong one. There we go. Oh, okay. I've seen the cover.
Yeah, it looks like it's very cool, and Super Bunny Hop did a great video about it, and I've wanted to play it ever since. So I just don't want to spend $20 on the file, because it's $20 for a file, and $20 goes a long way depending on how I spend it. I mean, let's spell this out for anybody listening to our show. We're the assholes who spent $60 on I Am Setsuna so that we could get it on physical media from Japan.
Well, that's money they could have received. I mean, I was not willing to pay $40 for the game digitally, but I was willing to give you $60 for a physical copy. What?
And that's how you should get games, because we're old-fashioned as hell and enjoy our games on discs and cartridges and stuff. I like instruction manuals too. Imagine that.
Yeah, so do I, but unfortunately we don't really get those anymore, and when it comes to digital games, it takes too damn long to download these things. I know certain parts of the world, they have better internets than we do, but this is America, and our internet sucks. It doesn't suck as some other places, but it still sucks. It takes too long. Storage is all. You talk about physical storage being a problem. Fuck. Storage on a console is a constant problem for most people, especially if you haven't upgraded your hard drive. And it's annoying to sit there. It's like, what game do I delete? I don't really feel like deleting anything at the moment. But if I want to play this game, I have to, because that's the only option they gave me.
Well, I mean, and speaking of, more games that I wish would get a proper physical release, similar to the Seiken Densetsu collection that we didn't get and still have no word about, because fuck you, Square.
You, Michael, if we get that, it's going to be digital only. And
then I'll import it.
Well, that just depends if the foreign version even has the English.
Oh, that's the thing. The Japanese version of I Am Setsuna that we bought, it doesn't technically come with English, it just patches it in because of
region?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Because that's pretty much how it. I read that's how it works whenever I was doing the research before I bought the game. It auto-detects your region when you load it up. So
interesting.
But anyway, I would still do the same thing. I would buy the Japanese copy instead because I'd get an actual cartridge. Well, anyway, I digress. Because they are screwing us in that way once again. Well, they're going to screw us that way once again with a trilogy of Dragon Quest classics. 1, 2, and 3 they're coming to the 3DS and PS4. And I do wish that was coming on a cartridge or a disc in the case of the PS4 version, because it deserves it. Those are classics. Those are games that are deserving of an actual release.
I don't understand. When I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, they're remakes." No, they're not remakes. They are the original 3 games, just being ported.
Yep.
I
mean,
honestly,
it looks like they're the Super Famicom remakes. If I'm looking,
and this article does say all 3 games will be remade. Does this site know what what the word "remade" means? Because I don't think they do.
I mean, it does look better than the NES versions. That's not saying a lot, but it does look better than the NES version.
No, it don't mean much either. I mean, they completely redid the other ones. Why wouldn't you do that for these?
I mean, they're gonna. What I think, like I said, I think they're gonna be using a better version of the game than we're expecting.
I mean, I'm looking at character models here. I mean, the other ones they put them all 3D. They were genuinely remade, giving them a graphical overhaul, but still keeping the original sprites. Really isn't a remake. It's just an upgrade. Okay. I mean, but either way, regardless, I wouldn't have even put this on the PS4. I would have stuck to the 3DS and put them all 3 on a cartridge. If this is what they were going to do, that's what I would have done. If they had genuinely remade it, then I would have expected 3 individual physical releases.
You would want 3 completely different releases for 2D games?
No, if they were actually genuinely to remake them, like give them the overhauls that they gave the other games.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, for what they did for 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Right. Well, let's be fair. Dragon Quest I does not exactly call for that level of remake.
Then, hey, that's not my problem. Do it anyway.
Have you ever played that game, Brendan?
I popped it in to an emulator. No, actually, I have. I have Dragon Warrior for, I think, went into on a was it GBA cartridge?
It was a Game Boy Color cartridge, yeah.
Game Boy Color, and I think maybe was it 3 that went on to a GBA? I remember one of them being on GBA.
No, none of them went to GBA. They didn't do any of them. They didn't do another one after 3 until the DS.
I could have sworn went to the GBA.
No, sir. Sure did not. Now, that's not to say they didn't have some Dragon Warrior or some Dragon Quest games on the system, but none of them were any of the remakes like that.
No, it wasn't a remake. It was the original games just ported.
Yeah, like I said, they only did 1 through 3 on the Game Boy Color, and then they picked up 4 forward on the DS and 3DS. So yeah, this will be the first time these games have been released in a form that doesn't suck. I'm looking at you, iOS re-releases, because playing games on a cell phone is crap. Regardless of whether it's an RPG or not.
I played. It's definitely more difficult. Because I tried playing Link to the Past on a phone, and it is not the easiest thing in the world to do.
I'm not sure why you would do that to yourself, sir.
Just because I could.
That's not a good reason. That's a terrible reason to play a game on a phone.
But yeah, you know.
At least the prices are good. At least the prices are fair for games that literally have not aged. Like, I'm sorry, Dragon Quest is a classic. Dragon Warrior is a very good game. I do not hate it. I even played the NES version extensively. I haven't finished it. I should. But that does not mean that it does not wear its age on its sleeve and that it feels a little bit too grindy. Says the guy who is currently carding bite bugs in Final Fantasy VIII in order to keep his level low. Yeah, it's not that much fun unless you really unless you get a kick out of grinding. You're not gonna have fun playing that game now, the original. But if you can get into the grind and have fun doing that, you're gonna have a good time with it. It's short as fuck, though. Oh. It's very hard to recommend that game now, in all seriousness. So, but yeah, it's cheap. That's the good news. It's a cheap game. You know. So, while we're talking about Nintendo and their things that they do that we do not particularly care for, a peripheral company has decided they don't particularly like the Switch. And that their WikiPad, isn't that the name of the thing?
It's called the WikiPad.
The WikiPad.
It's a gaming tablet.
It's a stupid looking. It's a gaming tablet that looks like a Wii U, and they want to file a lawsuit against Nintendo over the design of the Nintendo Switch because they think it's a breach. They believe it's a breach of their patent.
Doesn't even come close.
I mean, well, you'd have to look at their patent up close and see how it functions. But
I'm looking at the device as one piece.
Okay, what I'm saying is you need to look at the patent itself and how it functions to know any legitimacy of their claim. But I'm with you. I call bullshit. I call they want some settlement money, and that's all that they're trying to get is some settlement money. I think this is the most egregious crap lawsuit that I've seen in a while. And I'm not even saying that as somebody who likes Nintendo's hardware. This is stupid. For lack of a better term, this is just dumb. This is a waste of Nintendo's time, and it's a waste of this company's time. But you know what they're ultimately going to get out of it? Free advertisement. Because I'd never heard of this company before today. And here I am promoting their product on YouTube and Podbean alike. But I'm also calling them absurdly stupid for even trying to get into a legal battle with something as big as Nintendo. It will not go well for them if this goes to court. At the very least, Nintendo's going to settle. I do not think that this company is going to get what they want, or what they claim they want, in the Switch leaving market. And this is not the first time we've heard of a lawsuit that demands that a corporation pull their product off the market. This happened to Microsoft about 5 years ago as well, with the Xbox 360, and wasn't it something in regards to the rumble in their controllers or their disk drive or something?
I can't remember.
It was dumb and you didn't hear anything else about it again, and the Xbox 360 stayed on the market.
Oh, Lord.
What is it?
I'm sitting here looking more at their stuff.
Oh, yeah. You know what it all looks like to me? It looks like the NVIDIA Shield and similar products like that. So it's, yeah, I'm not impressed. I really am not impressed by their effort here.
What I love is every time one of these things come out, they're like, we want to ban all sales of the hardware. I'm like, Really?
Why?
Do you absolutely think you're going to get that? No one has ever gotten that.
And you know, you're right. I can't actually think of a... Okay, no one gets that unless there's a legitimate claim. And usually the claims are not legitimate. It's exactly what I said. They're looking for the attention. They're looking for somebody to look at their products. And frankly, the product that I saw that they're referring to with this, the WikiPad, I don't want it. And I already have a Wii U. I don't need their product. I have the Wii U. I will make a small warning to you, Brandon. It is storming where I am. If you hear any background in the recording, folks, it's because there's thunder outside. And it's pretty constant. So, alright, I don't want to harp on the Nintendo. I don't want to harp on the Switch thing so much. I want to point out a studio that's doing something I don't particularly care for. And that's Valve. After all this
Why?
time,
They're giving you this single-player game that you've been saying they're going to be giving people that's not a single-player game because it's a multiplayer card game.
Yeah, okay, you know what? I've never played Defense of the Ancients. I haven't. I played I played literally one round of League of Legends one time. So that's the extent of my MOBA experience right there. I played one game of League of Legends. They're making a card game. Valve was making a fucking card game.
Yeah.
Wasn't the last single player game we got from them Portal 2?
Yeah.
So that was 7 years ago. It's been 7 years since we got a proper game out of Valve. Fuck this game. I'm not even going to say the name partially because I forgot it, and also because fuck them.
Artifact.
What? Oh,
Called Artifact.
Artifact. Fuck themselves. I'm sorry. And you know, I think that part of my bitterness comes from the fact that I'm pretty much aware that we're never getting a proper Half-Life follow-up.
That's why honestly, that's why I don't care. I honestly don't care anymore. I have other games that are much more deserving of my attention than what Valve is doing.
You're exactly right. This game does not matter.
I mean, people are going to play it and people are going to compare it to Hearthstone. Hell, when I first heard about it, when you first told me it's a card game, I'm like,
it's hard.
What,
it's hard. It's them trying to make money off Hearthstone, just like whenever they didn't. Wait a minute. Actually, didn't they have their version of Didn't they have some sort of other MOBA recently?
Well, I don't know. Hearthstone's not a MOBA.
Oh, I know that Hearthstone's not a MOBA. It's a card game, but I may be just thinking incorrectly here, but I swear there's been another game from them that was multiplayer oriented and it was a MOBA, and I feel like they're just copying the hit games that like Blizzard's that Blizzard's making. Like next thing you know, they're gonna make an Overwatch clone, for fuck's sake. I just and the only reason this really bothers me is that I now get why people have been waiting forever for Half-Life 3 or Half-Life Episode 3. I get why people were upset at the end of Episode 2. It's an effective cliffhanger. It was an effective moment, and it was great storytelling on that game's behalf. Half-Life 2 is not a bad game. It has not aged poorly. It's an excellent set of games. But they're in danger of really fucking up the legacy of Half-Life at this point, because it's going to stop being known for excellent game design, brilliant physics puzzles, and wonderful writing, and it's going to become that series that fucked its players out of a good story. And we're getting there fast whenever we got games like Artifact.
How many more damn MOBAs do we need?
I don't think we need MOBAs at all, but I'm not a MOBA player.
I mean, there's so many of them now. You see, you have Dota 2, you have Smite, you have Heroes of the Storm. Technically, you have Overwatch. It's not exactly a MOBA. It has mechanics of a MOBA. You have Paragon, that though has not been released yet, but will be released, and I have a feeling will probably be sort of popular too, like the other ones I've just mentioned.
I am about to die. I died.
I mean, there's only so many.
I just died.
There's only so many damn games, so we can chunk hundreds of hours into. Jesus, people.
I mean, I know that there's the esports thing, and that's why it doesn't really bother me. I know that there's a crowd for that, there's an audience. It doesn't include me. So, I mean, I can only...
Well, that's the thing. I just feel like a lot of them are making these games because of that.
Yeah, they're trying to take a piece of that pie, and they're not getting it. They're not... It's hard to achieve that. It's the lightning in a bottle thing. Like, Overwatch was lightning in a bottle, League of Legends lightning in a bottle. None of the others really feel that way. Like, those are the ones that I hear, that I know people play. They're the ones that I know people get excited about and completely lose their shit over. And that's fine. I'm not going to stop people from having fun with a game. Like, that's not the goal of what I'm saying. It's not for me, though. Like, I know that I like other games more. And that's never going to change. I'm never gonna just like wake up one day and want to play League of Legends professionally. I'm sorry for the mute clicks because I have a bit of a cold and whenever I cough it sounds like I'm dying. So I apologize. Whew. But no, fuck you, Valve.
Hell, I mean, I knew they weren't going to give us anything worth a shit.
I long for the day when they actually show us a single-player game again and what the reaction will be.
Hell, we can't even get them. We can't even get them to actually, you know, do anything that's actually consumer friendly. What makes you think they're going to give us a game that we'll actually want to spend money on?
Oh, I know you're trying to get into that Steam conversation. I can hear it in your voice. I'm not quite ready for the Steam chat yet. This is not really a video game thing, but I know we're about to get into to that. So, do you mind? That's
the video game thing we're talking about. It's nothing but video games.
Oh no, I didn't say the Steam thing wasn't video games. The thing I want to talk about is not a video game thing. Oh. Exactly. But before
I haven't looked at that, and I'm like, even when I looked, I was like, I'm not buying that. I know what you're talking about. It's like I'm not even going to. I didn't even look at it. I'm like, I'm not even going to, you know, acknowledge that with a thought.
Okay, the thing that Brandon's going to have, I'm going to force Brandon to acknowledge with a thought, is the Fantasy Flight Fallout board game. Yes, as in the video game Fallout is being adapted into a board game that sounds incredibly dense with multiple boards based on multiple scenarios from the Fallout setting. So obviously it's going to be stupid amounts of expensive as well because it's from Fantasy Flight. So this is the reason I want to talk about it is that there is clearly an increasing amount of video game, board game, and card game adaptations, and I think that it's a strange trend. You know, just getting right down to basic game design as the point of what I'm trying to talk about. What about Fallout suggests that it should be something like a board game?
Merchandising.
Okay, other than merchandising, other than just
there's nothing else. There's nothing. That is it. To me, that's what a lot of these things are. It's just, hey, we can make this a board game. Let's do it. No one's asking for it, but no one's saying not to do it, so let's do it anyway.
Do you feel the same way about the Bloodborne card tabletop game, or was it Bloodborne, or was it Dark Souls that got the board game?
I'm pretty sure Dark Souls has a board. In fact, I know it has a board game. I don't even have to go look and check to know it has a board game.
I know that it does, or Bloodborne does. I couldn't remember which one it was. I think it was Dark Souls, though.
Yes, Dark Souls has a board game. And yes, oh my God! have you looked at the price of that thing?
Yeah, it's expensive.
Holy shit! I think it's like around $130.
$130.
Oh my God!
Is it any good though?
I don't know. I don't care. It's probably going to kill you.
Well, I mean, it is Dark Souls.
And yes, there is going to be a blood. Oh, that's a card game.
Okay.
Oh my God! There's a Doom the board game.
Okay, shut up. I play that.
Has a board game. Do you want to guess who made it?
Fantasy Flight.
Yes, Fantasy Flight made it, so it means it's going to be impossibly hard.
Roll 7 dice to see if you jumped on the demon's face and blew its eyeballs out.
God.
You know, it is funny that a lot of these titles are all coming from Fantasy Flight, since they are the kings of licensing. Look no further than the fact that they have the Game of Thrones license. Because not only do you have the Game of Thrones board game, which I totally want to play that, they also have, you know that Star Wars card game I have? Not the big trading card game one, but the little one, the one that we played at my parents' house after Christmas a couple years ago. The one that neither of us really understands what the point of that game was. Okay, so you know the game I'm talking about, though, right?
Yep.
Okay. I wish I remember the name of it, but it's based on a spy game that Fantasy Flight also publishes. There's a Game of Thrones version of that.
Of course there is.
Literally anything that Fantasy Flight makes, they have a version of it elsewhere. I'm waiting for, so they have a Dominion, I think is the name of their fantasy dungeon crawl board game. And that has an adaptation in Star Wars, and I'm pretty sure it's going to get one in Game of Thrones just because they have the Game of Thrones license. And I can't, it's one of those things where it's like, I know they're a business, and I know they have to make money, and they have to adapt their products to make money off of these big name franchises, especially as big as Star Wars and Game of Thrones both are. But those reek of cash grab in the case of the small version card games for Game of Thrones and Star Wars. As for this Fallout board game, I'm of two minds. Fallout started based off of the GURPS RPG system, so it doesn't reek of obvious cash grab so much as the Game of Thrones Westeros Intrigue card game that I was just talking about. I remember that was the name of it. One smacks of cash grab, the other one doesn't. I don't think that the Portal board game exactly smacks of cash grab so much. What? There is a Portal board game.
Of course there is. I mean, what the fuck do I mean? I'm not even surprised. There's a fucking Halo board game involved. Jesus Christ.
Wait a minute, hold on. Is there an actual Halo board game, or is there a Halo-themed version of Risk? Because I know there's Metal Gear Risk as well. Those
Halo Fleet Battles, The Fall of Reach by Spartan Games.
Oh, you've got to link me to that right now. I have.
And it is a. It looks like it could be a Star Wars clone.
Did you send me the link?
I am getting there now.
I want to see this so bad.
It's $108. You get a lot of pieces of ships. There's a lot of dice. A hell of a lot of dice.
Whoa, my lord, that is a lot of dice. And yeah, it does kind of look like the Star Wars minis game.
Mm-hmm.
Minus the directional things that you have to use in that game. Okay, I won't lie. If it was in a clearance bin somewhere, I'd play it.
Yeah, I know you would, by yourself.
I'd have to make you play too, which, by the way, my Barnes & Noble here, they have a clearance table right now, and on that clearance table they have the medium cruiser expansion for Star Wars minis.
Oh, Lord.
So it's huge. It's one of the big ones that's like 9 inches long. And it's basically its own game. If it goes to 75% off, I'm buying it, because then it'll be like $15, and you'll have to play some more Star Wars minis, so that I can try this out. And so, yeah, that's with Halo. It's probably cash grab, but at least it's cool looking. The rebranded ones like Star Wars Risk, Star Wars Risk, Metal Gear Risk, and Halo Risk, and all that. Those are obviously cash grabs. Those are stupid cash grabs. I don't feel that way exactly with the Fallout one. It looks like they put a lot of effort into the game, and it's not just a palette swap of an existing Fantasy Flight product. Similar to the Portal board game, that was made completely on its own. It is its own creation. If it's a palette swap, that's whenever I call cash grab, not so much these other ones. The other part of it is, I don't know how effective these are in terms of sales, though. Do these games sell more than, say, Dominion, since I already brought it up earlier, the giant fantasy dungeon crawl game from Fantasy Flight? That would be the thing I'd be interested in knowing, but I have no idea how to look up sales figures for board games.
D-Day, the board game.
I mean, that's technically also in video games, so I doubt that they're... Wait a minute, though. What are you doing that?
I don't know. All I see is a map with a bunch of lines and dots, and oh god, this looks complicated.
I mean, is there a roll each turn to see if you make it through your turn, or if you get gunned down by the Nazis?
Oh,
that sounds miserable. Send it to me. I want to look. This is a case where in the podcast it would be nice if we could like stick a frame on the middle of what I'm playing. Let's see. D-Day the board game while I'm saving. Who published this? Omaha Beach Solitaire?
That's why I was like, what? What does D-Day and Solitaire have to do with one another?
Oh my lord, it's $105.
Yeah. I'm looking at all games that are $100 to $200.
Wait a minute, there's a $200 board game?
Yes, I'm guessing. Let's find those. Let's see.
I just want to. I mean, those better be like legacy games of some kind. You see
a lot of it ends up being like really fancy chess sets.
Oh, okay, that's different. You know, I won't lie. If the Fallout board game would be 5 times more intriguing to me if it was also a legacy game. And the amount of radiation you take on goes on from game to game and affects the quests that you're allowed to take on in the next round that you play. But that's partially because I think legacy games are just fascinating in general, and I want to play one. Need to get a good consistent board gaming group together. And
that's almost impossible as getting a consistent RPG group together.
I would know all about that, wouldn't I? Since my last gaming group didn't exactly stick together.
They never do.
It sucks that they fall apart like that, because role-playing games are awesome. And frankly, not. And the thing is, there's so many personalities that come into playing a role-playing game like that, that you have to get the right people, or it becomes horrible to even go play the game. Case in point, guy I work with, he talks about his role-playing games being full of combat and rather like low-grade toilet humor, and if I played in his group, I would want to die. Literally die, because it's not what I want out of a good role-playing game. Similar, I'm pretty sure he would not enjoy a role-playing game that I'd run, because I'm all about plot and, you know, putting the characters specifically through stuff rather than, you know, a bunch of combat. Because combat's the least fun part of playing a tabletop game. Period. I just killed that stupid flying fish thing. That was not good. I did not want to get experience points for this fight.
Die, you stupid flying fish thing! You ain't have a name!
Let's see how many more AP I need to get card mod, because I'm trying to get a few magics and such. Let's have a look. So yeah, when you buying some D-Day solitaire to bring up to the house, Brandon?
I'm not.
Why not?
The next board game that I will be buying, and will at this point be my last board game I'm buying because it's the only last one I want to play, is Androids.
Android does seem very cool. Although, you know, I do want to play I would like to play the Game of Thrones board game just because I think that a game based on the War of the Five Kings is actually pretty incredible in concept. But other than that, actually, there's one other. I do want to play Star Wars Rebellion, the board game, and that's partially driven entirely by nostalgia. I will freely admit that. Need to get Thunder Magic Refined as well. So now I think it's time, Brandon. I'm letting you kick off the Steam rant.
I don't know. I've ranted about so much that now I'm like, whew, the ranting's almost all out of me.
Go get you a cup of coffee and rant. I believe in you, Brandon.
I don't know, man. I just.
Okay.
What's the point anymore? I mean, no. The thing I don't understand. Okay, see, they know that they have a problem with their service.
They've even addressed it.
It's
with
a really
their top
bad
critics.
problem of their service. It's even got to the point where users are being threatened to be sued, and they know that there's people were abusing their cards to the trading card system or whatever for money, and they, even with what they're doing, they still haven't done anything. Honestly, they actually just made things easier. And when I first heard about it, I was like, that seems like it make things a lot easier to break. And honestly, it has made things a lot easier to break. And before, you had to pay $100 and get the game approved by people. Now, you just have to pay the $100. Back then, you just had to pay just a one-time fee of $100, and now you have to pay it per game. Which, I mean, I can see why they would think that it might stop people, depending on what you think is the cause where these things are coming from. Because, I mean, how many people just have $100 to keep throwing out at people over and over and over again? But I'm guessing more than what they think, because so these games are just, they're a lot worse. In the past, like last week, we added 215 new games. Majority of them, as far as we know, are going to be these asset flip bullshit games that we keep getting. Or
because
on top of that,
almost all asset flips.
Yeah, and on top of that, now, like we said, they axed the trading card thing. Now the whole thing is achievements. I don't get this. There are games that was like they sounds like get 50,000 achievements and do nothing, and I'm like, but what does the achievements get me?
And what is the point? And what is the point of an achievement for a game that literally just showers you in fake praise? Look, I mean, we've talked about trophies and achievements on the show in the past, and how they, the positives and the negatives of the concept. I'm for the concept of achievements. I enjoy getting a platinum in a game that I enjoy quite a bit, because it gives me an incentive for, a really stupid and fake incentive, I freely admit, for going that extra mile. I have I have platinums for Final Fantasy VII, Type 0, and 15. I got all the achievements in 13 too, and I got most of them for Final Fantasy 13. I've gone the extra mile enjoying the process a little bit more, because at the end it's like, hey, I got that little box ticked off, and that's cool, because you know what, we're psychologically broken to enjoy that sort of thing on some level. Almost all of us. It's the reason why we grind in role-playing games incessantly, even. So, I get it, I do. But if it means nothing, what the fuck do you get out of it? What is the purpose of getting 20,000 achievements in a game if you didn't earn anything from it? If you didn't sit there and play the game, why is the game getting the achievements? Is the question.
Honestly, that's not even like, I can't even get to that point because I don't understand the concept of I mean, you know, on the consoles or whatever, when I first was dealing with gamer points, it was just a fun thing. Just like, hey, look at I had 11,000 gamer points, yay! And but I don't get. There's no real notoriety there. I mean, it's just, hey, yeah, you have 11,000 points. I would never even fathom paying money for extra, because it doesn't get me anywhere. It doesn't give me anything. At least with the trading cards, I have something nice to look at. I have a nice piece of artwork to look at on my profile somewhere, because I have like I have a profile page that gives me a collection of all my cards. At least I have something to look at.
Precisely.
But achievements is just literally just adding a number to another number. And I am incapable of comprehending the notion that people are willing to pay money to have a number look higher. That ultimately gives them nothing.
Yeah, because you're not even. It doesn't even sound like there's a game there.
Because there isn't. You're just paying. What happens is you open the game, and the minute you open the game, you're just constantly achievements. It never stops. Because Jim Sterling keeps doing them, and he was like, "Yep, we are rolling in the achievements. They do not appear to be ending anytime soon. The video will go on for 30 minutes, and the achievements are still coming." So I'm just incapable of being able to comprehend this turn of events. I'm like, I don't get it. Why is this a way to make money?
I wish that it was at least trying to be clever. I think is one of my problems. I wish that it was at least trying to appear to be a satire of gaming culture, but it's not.
Don't, Brad, please don't. Because the other thing these games do is try to do memes and do things like that, and it's always like heavy-handed and not funny. I don't want you to give them any more ideas than what they already have, because they'll just take it and just, fuck that up too.
Oh, they already have. They already have, Brandon. There's a $50 DLC for a 99-cent. And I cannot believe the words that are about to come out of my mouth. I might vomit in the
fidget
floor.
Spinner. What's funny? Well, it's not funny. It's actually, it's a. I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure out the word I'm looking for. It's a sign of our society that at least 2 people have paid for this, just so they can leave a no shit review that it sucks. And that's why I have come to the conclusion that part of the reason we are in the state we are is because, no offense to anybody, but because of kids.
Kids now like the dumbest crap. And you know what? I can say that. I can say kids like dumb shit. Do you know why, Brandon? Because I bought Pogs when I was a kid.
Yes, but you know what?
At least Pogs were a game.
Yes, Pods were a game that I could play with my other friends who bought Pods. This is not, hey, this is a joke. I'm going to spend money on this joke. Tell everybody else that is a joke. Oh God, I just did that. Ha ha ha. It's so funny. I left a bad review of this. No shit. That is a bad game. I mean, Jesus Christ, people. I mean, I don't know, it's it's not hard for me to tell, because if you look at the sense of humor that teenagers and kids they sort of have right now, you know how that PewDiePie got in trouble for some of his jokes that he tried to pull off about Jews and stuff like that.
Hey, don't call those jokes. That was bullshit, and I refuse to refer to that as humor.
Well, see, that's where I'm getting to. Okay, that is their sense of humor. It is not uncommon for them to just say, like, you're playing, like, with our friend's kid. He, at least I don't know if he still does it now, but for a long period of time, like when we played Call of Duty together, it would not be uncommon for him to just talking about you, the person, not the character in the game, for you won't just go die. He's meaning it as a joke, but that's the type of humor that kids have now. I don't know where it's come from. It's not funny.
It's not.
But that's the type of humor they have. That's why that's why PewDiePie is so damn popular. Is because he is them. He is like a complete representation of their style of humor. I don't know how to. You just watch a video, just see the way he plays games and reacts to them. That's him.
Oh, I don't do that because I don't hate my brain. I don't hate my brain enough to watch PewDiePie.
To be loud and make stupid comments, and just stuff that isn't funny, but for whatever reason these people think it's funny.
Look, I freely admit that. Okay, so Joe joined me yesterday for a block of the Final Fantasy live stream. Joe got on with me. We had a good time. We cracked dumb jokes the whole time, but we didn't scream and make.
Well, no, you made jokes at the expense of the game
and each other. We kind of joked about each other too, but it was all in good fun. It wasn't so damn mean. I hate to say it in such a childish way, but like that kind of humor is
immature humor, and it's immature humor, but it's not the dick and fart joke immaturity. It's like you said, it's mean immaturity. They're not really meaning to be mean, but in reality, it's just not something you say to another human being in a normal conversation.
Right. And I wouldn't, because I'm not a asshole.
And because of that, it's starting to spill over into other things. Hell, it is literally one of the only reasons why Goat Simulator got popular. Because it's that, that game's fun for maybe 5 minutes. It's funny for 5 minutes, and then you realize it's the same damn thing over and over again. But so many of these YouTubers who cater to this crowd, they got tons of subs, and a ton of people found out about the game because of that. It's one of the reasons. I don't know who all these developers are. Sometimes I think they're people. They're from foreign countries who kind of just try to scam people for money. So they're trying to take their trade to a different way of scamming people for money. But then I also think they could also be just really dumb kids. Getting a hold of kids. Who are getting a hold of this, and some of them are from foreign countries. Well, yeah. There was I don't remember what game. It was one of the ones that Jim Sterling covered, and they went out with a camera and filmed these live action, really stupid ass scenes that they, quote unquote, use for story segments for this asset flip that barely worked. Oh god, it was horrible. I don't remember what it was called. I just remember their stupid faces, and they insulted Canadians at one point. I remember that. Because they said that they had a white person and they were going to ransom him off, but then it turns out, oh no, he's Canadian, he's worth nothing. And I'm like, good God,
what?
People!
Jesus Christ, man!
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Clearly, these people don't know what Rush is, because Rush is proof that Canada is worth gold. That was my attempt at humor, Brandon. Was it better than PewDiePie?
I don't know. I've not watched PewDiePie for more than 5 minutes because I find him absolutely annoying.
Yes. It's...
In fact, I find him so annoying that the mere act of just opening the video and hearing him say his name sends me in fits of rage of hitting the X button.
It blew my mind, because, you and I, we got into YouTube because of Angry Video Game Nerd.
Yeah, stuff like that, yeah.
And you know what? Angry Video Game Nerd is a guy who basically yelled profanities at video games and made tons of, poop jokes, basically.
Yep.
And I would not trade AVGN for any damn thing in terms of YouTube, because it's still entertaining. Even after all this time, his show is still good. And then, we got into Nostalgia Critic and Spoonie.
That
and all
poor
this.
Man. Speaking of this, does he even do anything anymore?
Who?
Not Nostalgia Critic, but I'm thinking Irate Gamer. There it is.
Oh
that's
my God,
the guy.
I don't know. I really don't know. Actually, he was the first one we watched, wasn't he?
No, was he the first or second?
Yeah, Trent showed us Irate Gamer, who was a ripoff of AVGN, and we learned about AVGN, and we were like,
that's right.
Damn, Irate Gamer's bad. No offense to the guy, but his show was a clear ripoff of...
Well, yeah, but honestly, a lot of those damn YouTube shows were ripoffs for one another.
Yeah.
That's the thing that got me. It was such a new thing. Who cares if it's ripping off one another? You have to start ripping off one another before you can start evolving.
Right, yeah. It's sort of like rock and roll. It was... hell, for our generation, YouTube was rock and roll.
Yeah, sort of. Pretty much, yeah. Though now it's starting to die, but, whatever.
Yeah, it died a lot faster than rock and roll. At least rock and roll had heavy metal and a grunge period.
And
we skip right to the Nickelback.
Yeah, the difference being that rock and roll didn't have to worry about advertisers. We had to worry about advertisers.
True, because that was where all the money came from.
Although now a lot of them are just moving over to Patreon, which is great. I'm glad that they all have found a new medium to make money.
Yeah, because even Super Bunny Hop started a Patreon today. And I hope he's doing well with it, because George does amazing work on Super Bunny Hop. God, how this entire conversation has taken a really weird curve, hasn't it?
Well, it's because we have gone from talking about, Steam and their problems to the direct source.
The nature of the beast rather than the product of the beast.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, what Super Bunny Hop? That's George.
Yeah,
George. He's already making $4,000 a month.
Whoa, man!
Off of 857 people.
His show's good. If I had the money to back him, I would. Because I love the work he does. Have you watched his latest video?
Honestly, I keep meaning to just watch his stuff in general, but I don't normally. There are times I have to be in the mood, because for him it's more of a educational thing. anything than an entertainment factor. And a lot of the times, I'm not in the mood for the education, which is why some of the times that I'm not in the mood for the completionist, though he is trying to be for more entertainment. I honestly don't find him funny most of the time, so I go to him for more video game education, which is why I might find his Let's Plays boring.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with you. His humor is very hit or miss. Sometimes it's funny as hell. Sometimes it's not.
Yeah. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's not. Did you watch the latest one yet?
I have not yet.
Okay. Well, they cover Easter eggs, and one of them is the Diablo 2 and the cow level.
Oh, there is no cow level from.
Yeah, the first one, but in the second one there is a cow level.
Yeah, and it's I've seen video of that. It's
hysterical. And he gets I can't remember what the guy's name was. I'm guessing it's the big black man. He's like, for this next segment, I want you to go moo. Just give me just a constant moo. and that's why. And I found it funny because the guy he's just moo. And for whatever reason, it was funny. It worked. But that's not common. I will say this: some of the things that Greg did when he was with the show, I did find a little funnier.
Occasionally, sometimes he could be grating too. Yes,
but I mean, let's be honest. The Sonic 06 review, I don't know if it would have worked without him because he sucks at gaming.
Yeah, the mediocreist, I think it was.
Something like that. But anyway, shit, where were we going?
We were going somewhere, weren't we?
Yes. Let's see. YouTubers. We're talking about the people we liked. Super Bunny Hop has a good show. I guess I will go through this. And if you notice, most people who actually put forth good products, for the most part, they always have a super dedicated fan base. And that's why Super Bunny Hop and people like him are actually able to get plenty of money from Patreon. Hell, Jim Sterling gets over $10,000 a month. It might be more now. $12,000 a month.
Good God.
Yeah, and do you know what and unlike everybody else, they promise people stuff. What does he promise us? Not a damn thing other than I will never do advertising with anybody ever.
Yeah, because he's very much against that.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things I'm so sad about with Spoonie is he was doing pretty damn good. He had reached $5,000 a month, and just because he quit doing things, I
miss the hell out of his reviews. I mean, some of his live stream stuff's pretty good, but I just miss the hell out of his reviews. But we're gonna let me get our conversation back to kind of what the core of this is, that we don't have. How do I want to say this? There is such a gap, like you were talking about, with like this young crowd of people who are supporting these bizarro, terrible, damned games on Steam, but just because they're bad and they think that's funny or whatever, and this unusual YouTube culture that has spawned from the PewDiePie types, rather than the guys who are our age, basically, or just slightly older, the James Rolfes and Doug Walker. Like, there is a generational gap there. It's visible and it's strange because we're all kind of grouped together under the same umbrella of gamers, right?
Mm.
Yet the gap is so bizarre to me. Like, why is it that 15 years ago, if you're lumped in the group gamer, there's this wide variety of games that you might get to play and, are considered for playing, like the variety of games that came out, during the GameCube, PS2, and Xbox era was so much broader than it is now, and we're kind of going back that direction, but I'm getting really spirally on this statement I'm trying to make. But do you see where I'm going? Like, 15 years ago, gamers were gamers. They liked everything. But now the concept of gamer is like two completely different groups of people in terms of, the type of gaming you do. You either you like video games because video games are good, or you like video games as a cultural thing, and it's, I'm going to play this garbage game where it's giving me 1 million achievements because, that's funny, or some crap. Like, when the fuck did this happen? Did it happen all because of YouTube, as we streamed this entire conversation on YouTube?
Sorta, yeah. Like I said, it's just...
that sucks.
I think they sort of just feed off one another, because a lot of people now are like, they buy these really bad games. Like, there was one for like 50,000 achievements, and people bought it just so they can. The thing that gets me is they get positive reviews but negative actual reviews. So the thing says it's positive or overwhelmingly positive, but if you actually read the context of the reviews, they're bad because they think it's funny.
But why?
Because they're stupid.
Funny. That's not comedy.
It's the whole. We must be getting old, man. It must be the whole generational thing. That's the only thing I can think of why we just don't get it. It has no common sense to it whatsoever, but they do it anyway because they think it's funny.
We're only 30.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
I mean, I guess that's a shitty way to put it. Because I think that stuff that's not funny isn't funny. I'm getting old. I'm sorry, but that's not humor.
Hell, just think about it. When you look at like TV shows or whatever, say like that '70s show, a lot of the things that they did in the show, the parents always thought was kind of stupid, even though to the kids it's like, what? This is normal. Why is it stupid? Why don't you understand this? Because it's just a generational thing.
Well, I mean,
it's kind of the same way with music. We just think of what the metal people in early metal went through, and it's just a generation thing of just the parents of the kids who liked it just didn't understand.
I think that you're right to a certain degree, but like, what is it about us specifically where? Oh hell. You and I can look at the history of comedy. Like, we can enjoy stand-up and comedy films from the 30s and up through the 70s and the 80s. Like, we watched This Is Spinal Tap in high school and listened to Eddie Murphy Raw. And
well, think about it this way:
when we went to college, we watched Arsenic and Old Lace.
How many modern comedy films do you like?
It's rare.
There you go.
They do exist, but that's partially because I think most comedies are not funny.
There you go. And you know who thinks they're funny?
No, well, dumbasses mostly. People who think that.
I'm not going to say dumbass, but the kids of nowadays do like them. They do. You may think it's stupid, but they do. That's what I'm saying. The more you talk, the more you reinforce the point I'm making. Is a generational thing. Just for whatever reason, that is just the route their comedy tastes have gone. It's in this loud. I don't know if I'm gonna say obtuse.
I would say abrasive at the very least.
Abrasive, yeah, okay, abrasive. And the thing is, they won't even admit that it's probably stupid, but they still find it funny to say and do these things that they do. I can't really explain why, but they do, and because of that, there's just it has affected things in a certain way. That's why I think a lot of times when, like, these YouTubers, they get, like, attacked. I'm not gonna lie, half the time I don't think that it's adults doing that.
Oh, hell no.
I generally think it's just kids. Or teenagers.
Whenever some of that stuff happens, I'm sorry, that's a fucking felony. Like when people get swatted. You've heard about right? That's a fucking felony.
Yeah, and it's and that I know is kids. Absolutely 100% got to be kids who think it's funny.
And what they're doing is damaging. Like, they are damaging these people's houses. They are drawing the law onto innocent people. That's not funny. I'm sorry, but like, fuck generational gap. That's not comedy. That is not humorous.
That is to them. To us, it's not, but to them, it is. They think it's absolutely hysterical to sit there and watch.
Well, I mean, I'm glad that I'm old then, I guess. Because...
I mean, it'd be really weird to think of what would my taste be like now if I was in that... it would be different if I were to see more diversity in the way that I see teens nowadays act. But I haven't. I've seen a lot of them pretty much act this way. And so it's just led me to believe this is just the way they are. This is, I mean, sure, of course there's going to be exceptions to the rule. I mean, hell, technically we were exceptions to the rule.
Yeah, that's true.
During our time.
We were in high school at the age of oh god, I can't even name the shit that people liked when we were in high school. Yet we were listening to fucking Rush, Pink Floyd, and Dream Theater.
Boy bands, they were still popular.
Yeah, but what was the rock music we were supposed to like? Stained, I think.
Yeah, Stained, Saliva, stuff like that.
Did not like any of it. And you know what's happening now? Our taste in music is being vindicated and being played in in like big theaters, and it's somewhat popular. Oh, hello, E-Free card. Now I know why I'm supposed to be playing this person. Very nice.
Yeah, this conversation just went to a completely random direction.
We got downright philosophical on this thing.
I can't help it, Regardless, Steam needs to get their head out of their ass. Just because you want to monitor what you sell does not make you a tyrant. It's okay to have standards.
It's necessary to have standards.
But
that's why GOG that's why whenever I buy games, I buy them on GOG.
Well, yeah, they curate their product, and that's fine. They just don't allow anybody to go up there. And Steam is wanting anybody to be able to come up to their pet place of retail and sell their stuff. And unfortunately, you can't do that. But they don't want to be that guy. Just like Sony doesn't want to be that guy, and that's why that shit is starting to appear on the PS4.
And it's going to ultimately, and that'll backfire on them at some point. And it's
hasn't for Steam yet. Jesus Christ, they sell more games than ever. And that's what's ultimately annoying. It's like everybody keeps saying like, yeah, the Steam's changed, but they don't do anything other than, well, hell, that's what we're doing. Bitch about it. And honestly, they don't even really do that, because eventually what happens, and it happens every time with everything, is things that people should bitch about, they get bitched at for bitching about it. People just everyone just adopts this mentality of, it's like, well, you can't do anything about it anyway, so you might as well just shut up about it.
Well, I'm sorry, but that's a pretty sad way to handle things. You need to, people need to demand better of things like Steam.
Well, they do, but honestly, that's why all these companies just do what they want to do, and they get away with it. Hell, I mean, That's why Ubisoft constantly can just do whatever the hell they want, and ultimately it doesn't matter, because people are going to buy the fucking game anyway, no matter how pissed off they get about it. I mean, that was the thing that also I remember, like with Watch Dogs, it's like how many people got pissed off about it, but it didn't stop nobody from going out and buying it. You must not have been that pissed off about it if you just went out and spent $60 on the motherfucker.
And you know, the graphics downgrade was not the biggest problem with that game. You know, the biggest problem with that game was padding.
Yeah, padding, which is a symptom of Ubisoft.
Yes.
That's not fair. That's a symptom of sandbox games in general.
This is
very
true.
Some of them aren't so bad about it, but ultimately it's just a problem with that type of game, because people don't know how to come up with enough content to fill that type of world. It's like, yes, our world is actually 50 miles long, but we only have enough content for 10, so we're just going to we're just going to copy and paste.
Boom, game done.
Yes.
And that was that was back whenever I first got it, back when we first started doing the live stream with the podcast recordings. That was the game I was playing, was fucking Watch Dogs. I don't know how I didn't get through those podcasts without just like there being like long audible screams for the entirety of the recording because of some of the stuff I was doing to get further along in that game. Oh. You know, there has been some serious irony being thrown around, you know, because we're on YouTube doing a stream.
Trust me, I get the irony, and you know it's like you do realize what you're doing and what you're saying. Yes, I do. I do.
I just wanted to.
But it doesn't change the fact that what I'm saying is true. I mean, it's not YouTube's fault.
No. It's none of these things individual. Well, it's Steam's fault, but
yeah, Steam. Yeah, it's definitely their fault. They need to take a. They just need to censor people, but they won't.
They need to not just take people. They just need to stop taking money for releasing garbage.
And you know what else caused the problem with this?
What's that?
And I'm looking at you Minecraft piece of shit. Early access.
Early access. Fine as a
you.
concept, terrible in the reality of its execution. I honestly still think that as a concept, it's absolutely fine as a concept. I'm okay with the concept. I am even okay with how Minecraft did it. Fuck what it turned into. Because there's always going to be some douchebag that ruins everything.
Well, funny as I say, fuck Minecraft, I actually turned on Minecraft today.
Who the hell are you? Wait a minute, who are you? Where's my co-host?
I mean, here's the thing. It's like, as a product, you know, I think Minecraft is ingenious for what it allows you to do, but the fandom and what is created and what is done to gaming, I despise it. Yeah, I know a lot of people like Minecraft, but honestly, for the things it introduced, regardless if you like early access or not, it has hurt more than it has ever helped.
I would completely agree in the long run. I mean, it could turn back around and someday early access could be a fine service again, but in its current state, yeah, 100% agree with you. Now, I will say this.
That's because there's no guidelines where there's just people are just like, yeah, it's early access, just do whatever you want, whatever, you want to spend the next 10 years in early access, fine. I mean, that's sort of what Minecraft did.
Yeah, but
I don't think it's quite 10 years.
At least it became more feature rich over time.
Yeah, and hell, GOG has early access games now. Not near to the amount that Steam has, because not just, like I said, not anyone can just upload a game to GOG. They do have a human element looking at this stuff, which is good. It's what Steam needs, ultimately, and they won't do, because they don't want to be the man. Well, God damn it, you need to be the man, because it is not up to me, the customer, to make sure your fucking products that you're selling is good. That is your job, not mine.
And I'm gonna break out a comedy reference here. Be a man, do the right thing.
Yeah.
There you go.
But they won't. They never will, because they don't have to. They'll get their money regardless. They don't care.
Which is unfortunate.
They ultimately don't care. They can say, yeah, but we made all these changes. No, you don't actually care, because all you did was just take what's already there and just tweaked it a little. You took out green light. Oh well, you just made it easier for everybody, just as long as they just pay the $100.
That's right.
Which is refundable, by the way.
No,
that $100 is refundable. You get your money back eventually.
That's excellent. I'm so happy. So happy.
I mean, they took it at $100 just so that that independent developers,
can still afford it.
Can still afford it, but you know what? Make
it 500. Because 500, I mean, it may not be enough, but it's better. I even said whenever Jim Sterling reported about, his conversation with Steam, with the guys at Valve specifically, that I was like, it needs to be 500. Because 500 means that not just every Yahoo can do it. Because you know what? You can come up with $100 if you need to.
Yeah, it's not hard. Just work a week.
Yeah, and you probably have $100 sitting around after that. 500's a different thing.
Honestly,
altogether.
You could make it $1,000 and it would still be fine. You wanna know why?
Because if a game studio is trying to make a game, they're going to have that kind of money coming in, or they could launch a Kickstarter.
Yeah. Exactly. That's where I was going. For any of these games that are actually worth the shit, they would go through a successful Kickstarter, if for no more money than just what they needed to get on Steam.
Yep.
So this whole thing for the indie is bullshit. So yeah, fuck Steam.
Yeah, seriously, I'm gonna keep spending my digital gaming dollars on the PC at GOG. They have the kind of stuff I buy anyway.
Yeah, though I was about to say I haven't bought anything in a while, and I haven't. But the last thing I bought was crap. What was that game? The game that the developers of Dishonored made before they made Dishonored.
Arx Fatalis.
Yes, that's it. And I only bought it because it was like $5.99. I was like, we were talking about. I was like, I'll try it out.
Yeah, I mean $5.99, you can't beat it, and it's a good role-playing game, although it's hard.
Yeah, if you want to do match, you have to do all kinds of motions with your mouse. So I'm like, I don't want to do that. Just give me a good old right click any day. I'm lazy like that.
Then you need to go play your Elder Scrolls, sir.
I've already played my Elder Scrolls, though I have considered loading up like Daggerfall and play the ones that are actually, based on D&D. Unlike what we get nowadays, which is so far from what they used to be.
You'll have to let me know how that goes. I've always been a little
afraid.
Yeah, because I played Arena one time, and when I played Arena, oh man, when I played Arena, that was the first time I ever tried that type of 3D movement. And that was not good, because I had no idea how to make it work. It wasn't until I played Ultima Underworld that I even got a taste of how that functions. And I can't play Ultima Underworld that well. That game, those controls are not friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, I think we need to wrap it up and move on to our second show. What do you say, Brandon? You got anything you want to close on other than fuck Steam?
No, that's all I got from that. Tired of talking about them.
Do you feel better now? Because you've been at their throat all week.
I don't feel better because the shit ain't gonna get any better.
Well, anyway, as this is the end of our recording for the Z-Trigger podcast for this week, and we hope you've all enjoyed, and we hope you will join us next week when we do this again. And we'll probably still be playing Final Fantasy VIII next week if you're enjoying this through our live stream. We're not done for tonight's live stream recording, but we are done with this podcast recording. That was really clunky. Sorry.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes, it was.
If you enjoy our show, come and subscribe to us on Podbean, or you can do so on iTunes. You can also subscribe to us here on YouTube for the live stream and the podcast releases. We do them both through here. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter, where we do updates about the show and what we're, going to be discussing and so on and so forth. And, links are going to be all over wherever you acquired this podcast experience and entertainment. We are
entertained.
This is entertainment, right? Isn't that what we call this?
Yes, we call this entertainment.
It's just entertainment, folks. Well, anyway, thank you all for listening, and good night from the Z-Trigger podcast.
Laters.
Clear the recording?
Yeah.
Cool. Alright. We never heard from Trent, did we?
No.
No, we did not. Wow. Did he even, get the message that we were recording?
I don't know.
Let's see. No, he did not even get the message that we were recording. That's unfortunate.
Why does this thing record video?
I don't know. I guess you could...
Sometimes this thing records a video file along with the audio for no reason. I tell it to record just audio, and it will record my desktop.
That's gotta be boring for it.
Yeah, because it doesn't really move most of the time.
Alright, let's go ahead and get another file going, and we will do the Expanded Universe show.
Alright.
You can just let me know when you're ready.
Alright.
Is that alright you're ready, or alright you're gonna let me know when you're ready?
Alright. Wow.
You think you're funny, don't you?
That's a lot of negative reviews. That's a lot of reviews. Mostly negative.
For what book?
No, not a book. No Man's Sky. It was on Steam's front page, and I was like, let's see how that's going review-wise. Click. 75,000 mostly negative reviews.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Okay, are we ready to do the book review, Chad?
We are.
Okay. Let's talk about some books. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Z-Trigger Expanded Universe podcast. My name is William Hill.
I'm Brandon Harris.
And we have some lovely books to talk about tonight. Brandon, how you doing?
Pretty good.
That's excellent. What you been reading this week?
I've been reading the third book in the Codex Alera series. Nice. I finally went back to some Butcher. I've not been reading it very quickly. I should have been done with this book, a few days ago, but mostly I've just been reading in the morning, and that's pretty much it. I've just not... after reading the last book before it, I just have sort of a break. After a 1,000-page book, you typically, it's not the easiest thing in the world to just jump into something else because, 1,000 pages is 1,000 pages.
Trust me, I'm still not done with The Wise Man's Fear. And because I knew I wouldn't be done with The Wise Man's Fear due to working way too much lately, I've been trying to read something shorter and less time consuming just so I'd have something to talk about on the show tonight. And I do have something that I'm going to discuss. I haven't quite finished it yet, but I've got enough read in it that I have things to say and recommendations possibly to give. So do you want to jump right into it?
Yeah, good.
Do you want to review yours first, or... Should I go first?
Yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and go.
All right, go ahead.
So normally I don't review books in a series. You know, like I don't review like all of them because I find there's really not a whole lot of point. Because once you start commenting on a person's writing style, it really doesn't change. So I just have a hard time really reviewing the third or fourth book in a series without just spending an exorbitant amount of time on the plot, which I try not to do because that's honestly not a review. You're just summarizing it for people and saying if you liked it or not. But however, because this book took up half a month for me, 15 days, if not a little more, I'm going to talk about Lord of Chaos a little more. I talked about it on our last book show a little bit. I started talking about Robert Jordan's seeming philosophy when dealing with women.
Please tell me that we're not going to get back on the conversation about how sexist some of the stuff he did in that book was.
No, not exactly, and I don't know if it was. That's what I'm saying. I still don't know if it's sexist or not, and there actually is debates among fans and on the internet and stuff like that about this stuff because it can go either way. I mean, you're talking about a society that has sort of given this special privilege to this group of women for more than 3,000 years. So it's not inconceivable to think that they would develop a very high opinion of themselves and what they do. But with that, this book does actually this book was a change for the series. Up until this point, everyone is constantly on the move. They're going from place to place. Rand is traveling all over, trying to get a grasp on what this big massive thing that he has to accomplish, and he's traveling across different lands and trying to gather people. But in this book, he pretty much stays in one location the entire time. I mean, he does move from two different cities that are pretty far apart from one another, but he's able to magically pop in and out of either location as much as he wants. But it still seems like he's staying in one place because no matter what section he's at, whatever city, he's still doing the exact same thing, which is he is hosting these meetings with various Aes Sedai. They're all trying to get them on their side. So this book is very much politics. A whole lot of setup for future stuff in politics. A lot of people sitting around and talking about politics. It even introduced this. This is the 6th book in the series, and it's just now introducing this concept. With the nobles of the other nobles, they play games with one another. That's not a new trope with fantasy. Nope. With this book, even though it has not made one single mention in the series so far about this concept, it turns out that the Aes Sedai and the women also do this among themselves. Before now it's always been, they've just been a unified tower, and everyone worked for the greater good that they perceive as, anyway, the greater good. But it turns out that it's not quite that way. Their people are always trying to position themselves for more power, and just because you've been an Aes Sedai for 30 years and this one's been for 10 years, if this one has more power, this one's actually on top, not the other one, and they play games with that too. And I was like, why did you add this? It was not needed. We already see them as a threat. We don't need extra fuckery to, with that. But that he decided to do it anyway. there were a couple of other, chess moves that he made, mostly just for, set up for future events. A couple of characters had one character got put into a major position of power among one group of people. So, you can foresee that the big thing will happen there in the later books. But just mostly it was all politics, and this book was 1,000 pages of you talk like the eye of the world. Really nothing happened, but at least they were traveling. They might have been running the entire time, but they were moving through the world. This literally stayed in 3 locations the entire fucking book. It's like you have viewpoints with Nynaeve, Egwene, and Rand. Sometimes Elaine would be the focus for Nynaeve because they're in the same location, but still you can say it's just one point of view because they're always together, always doing the same thing. So I won't say the book was boring, because ultimately it wasn't boring, but I will say that not a lot happened outside of the politics, and because of all the over the top politicking through the book, it is what caused me to start thinking more heavily about how women are treated in this series. Well, hell, and how even men are treated in this series, and I don't want to say it's like, if this was real life, if in real life the role were reversed and women were the ones that were actually on top of things and men were the one on the bottom of the ladder, just like the reverse is in reality, that things wouldn't be that way, and I don't really think they would. I don't think I don't think real people are actually that bad. Even back in the 70s and stuff, when men were the we are the head of the house and everyone else just does as I say, I still don't think they were as dismissive of their wives and women as women are to men and everybody in general in these books. So I can't really put a firm grasp on how I feel about the series treating of genders, because it's really weird, and it has nothing to do with the fact that I'm a man and that men are basically subservient to women in this series. Pretty 9 times out of 10, if you go into a different kingdom, it's not really a kingdom, it's a queendom most of the time. There's more women in charge than anything else. Thankfully, not all of them are assholes, but a good portion of them are assholes. I don't quite get it. With that said, Nynaeve is becoming one of my favorite characters. I have seen a gradual change in her character arc. She's still a bit of a bully, but she's not so much one anymore. She's more she has one goal in mind, and that's to help Rand, while everybody else is I'll help Rand, but only as it applies to me. How can this benefit me? How can I control him? While she's like, well, he's basically my little brother. I'm going to help him no matter what. I'm not scared of him. I'm not an asshole, basically. So, but other than that, I don't know when I will continue the series. I don't know how long the next book is. That will determine when I continue it, because if it's another 1,000-page book, I might put it off for a while.
That's kind of where I'm at with that series in general, just because I bought a copy of The Great Hunt at the book sale, and because my feelings about the first book are so just completely uneven, I don't know when I'm gonna try to read that book. Especially funny, since I have better fantasy to read now.
What's really funny is the fact that so many people do see The Eye of the World as such a damn good book. and that they were disappointed in the second one. And I was like, but I sort of thought the second one was better in certain areas, because it wasn't a giant chase the entire time. They went to different areas, they did certain things, and I thought it was a little enjoyable. Hell, there was, I don't know, you even had a massive fucking battle at the end. There are things I'm like, I'm surprised people didn't like this one as much as the other one. But, I guess, people have their taste, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. And that's fine. I mean, like, I'm not going to say that Robert Jordan's a bad author because of how I felt about the first book. I just know that the first book was not for me exactly. I'm weird about fantasy in general, though, so.
To me, he's he might have had a little too much D&D in him. And as you read more of the books and you see his tendencies, you start to see that. You can tell he did a lot of DMing in his day.
So in fact, so did Ari Salvatore.
Yes, this is true. But where the difference lies is that Salvatore just took the ideas that he had from his stories and made them into books, while Jordan literally takes mechanics of DMing and applies it to his book. Like the fact that he will take certain concepts and certain things and repeats them a lot. Like, he will reintroduce characters a lot. Just because, there was multiple reasons. One, the publisher sort of made him do it to a degree, so that if, say you were getting into the series late, and for whatever reason you decided not to read the first book, you wanted to start on book 7. Well, they would make him do this repetitive nature when it comes to the characters, so that you could possibly do that and not be completely lost about what's going on. What this has amounted to is that the books become inflated by a couple of 100,000 pages.
A couple 100,000 pages?
Yes, because it feels that way sometimes.
Couple 100,000 words at the very least.
I mean, I was sitting here reading this book, I was like, I feel like I'm no closer to the end. I have been reading for 4 days. and it's just because, and I won't say that is a bad feature of his writing, because it does, there are so many damn people in these books that you sort of need it. You really do. You need him to reintroduce these people, because, some of them only appear during sections with a certain character. And some of those characters are not always with the main character. For like 2 or 3 books, Perrin was not with Rand. He was off somewhere else. So he had his own people that he was interacting with, and so you had to remember them. And then you have the people that Egwene's interacting with. Then you have the people that Rand's interacting with. Then you have the people that Nynaeve and Elaine are interacting with. Oh my God! It really does become overwhelming at times to try and remember all these things. And I know it gets worse. It's going to get worse. I'm not looking forward to it. I will eventually read these books. How many are there? Are there 14? So
yeah, 14.
With book 7, I am almost halfway through the series. With book 7. I say it that way, but fuck, Butcher's gonna put like 21, 23 books in the Dresden series. So what can we say about Jordan? At least his ended at 14.
Hey, but Butcher's still gonna have a lower word count than Jordan when it's all said.
He might. I don't know. He might not. The books are, as you go along with Dresden, get longer.
Yeah, but they don't get 1,000 page per book.
No, they do not. That is true. But yeah, so overall, I'm still enjoying the series. I don't know when I'll read A Crown of Swords. It's only 688 pages. Thank God the page count went down. So we'll see. I'm getting to the point in time when the books start dipping in quality because he has so many people. He has to do books of setup. You know, just like what was the book that Martin did that's nothing but setup?
Oh, Clash of Kings.
Wasn't there another one?
The fourth one is also that way.
Yeah, basically that. That's what the like 8, 9, and 10 are. They're just all gigantic books of setup because he has too many damn people and he won't axe them off like that Martin does. That's probably one of the reasons why I think he killed so many people. He's like, okay, there's too many cast members. You're dead. Okay, now the books have become a little more manageable.
Oh my. Alright, is it time for me to review something completely different?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm reviewing something completely different. You know, we usually do a lot of science fiction and fantasy here on the show. Sometimes horror, sometimes detective novels, but usually it's all genre fiction. I'm reviewing a postmodern literature here.
Oh, I gotta throw off my brain.
No, I think you're gonna be fine. You've seen the movie.
I have?
Yes.
What movie?
Cosmopolis. The novel is by Don Delillo.
Oh God. Oh God. I'm not gonna lie. The movie wasn't great.
There's people who don't particularly care for the book either. So
tell me about the book. I want to compare in my head.
Okay, don't talk about the movie. So keep out of it because, like I said, I have not finished the book yet. I'm reviewing based off of the 2/3 that I've read. The novel, and I'm going to keep this synopsis short like I always do. This book is only about 200 pages long.
Damn.
So keep in mind. I'm going to keep this as short as possible. A multi-billionaire douchebag is going to get a haircut.
Uh-huh.
That's the plot.
Uh-huh. And along the way, he just stops and does various things, right?
Yes, he goes and gets lunch. He has sex with various women. He gets a, there's one very unusual scene where he gets a prostate exam. I'm not joking. This is the book. All the while, he's in his limousine, which has a tile floor, has walls lined with cork to silence the noise from outside.
Yep.
And he has all of his technology around him, which he is constantly saying is out of date and he's going to abandon it. Like, there's lines in the book where the word phone needs to be abandoned because it's not up to date enough for where we are technologically. Even in 2000, when this book takes place. This book is absolutely something by the author of White Noise. White Noise being the only other book I've read by Delillo at this point. And there's something that I experience whenever I read this book that not everybody's going to get. I think this book is funny as hell. I genuinely think this is a very comedic book in a sense because the language that's on display and the turn of phrase that Delillo always brings to it. Delillo is the kind of author who realizes that you are not supposed to like main character Eric Packer. He knows that Eric Packer is a self-important douchebag. He wouldn't put it that way because he's much better with words, but I'm trying to get to, anybody who's listening to me here. Delillo has written a complete monster here. The opening of the book is largely Eric in his 3-story, I can't remember the exact word he uses for it, but he lives in a 3-story penthouse. with a rotating bedroom on the 3rd floor. He has a Shark Tank and a theater and an entire art gallery and all these like random rooms, and he lives alone. He lives alone. He's been married for 3 weeks and has not seen his wife. Yet he pursues her to try to convince her to have sex with him. On at least 2 or 3 occasions so far, as of where I'm at. And she keeps blowing him off. Doesn't matter though, he's had sex with other women. Like I said, he's not a good person. In the entire book, he's been trying to bet on the decrease in value of the yen. And that's where that's the tension for him. But there is this, and this is how I've read it. I'm not saying that this is the be-all end-all. Like I said, I haven't finished the book yet. There's a lack of humanity in him throughout the entire book. This guy doesn't act like an actual human being. He is an utter monster who sees beauty in many things, but he sees beauty in things the same way that you and I look at a toaster. I feel like it's like, that's a shiny fucking toaster. And so there's a gap for me, you know, reading him as a character. Like, I'm not close to him as a character. I've got this lens on him, you know, watching from afar. I'm watching him do these things, you know, basically from a security camera at the front end of the limo, you know, up close to where his bodyguard and driver are sitting. And I'm watching him do morally questionable things while New York basically explodes around him. Because also, while he's trying to drive across town to get his hair cut, the President of the United States is in town, and his caravan is causing traffic jams to ripple throughout the city. There's also an anti-capitalist riot where, please Brandon, do tell me this, are there scenes in the movie where people have decided that rats are currency?
I don't think so. I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, that's a thing. There's this gag early in the book where Eric is talking to one of his advisors, and they have a conversation about how the rat has been adopted as currency, and it's and the kind of conversation that would be taking place if rats were a form of money, and they basically just have like trade-off lines about, oh, America's adopted the rat, and the value of the rat in America is higher than the value of the rat in other countries, and so on and so forth. And then these two guys are in the restaurant while him and his wife are having lunch, and sure enough, they're wearing full-body rat suits and twirling rats by the tail like they're fucking nunchucks, freaking the hell out of everybody in the restaurant. And the main character is just thrilled that this is taking place. He is loving the fact that two people are in this restaurant twirling rats around by their tails. It is the most glorious thing he's ever witnessed. Is this in the film, Brandon?
No.
No? I'm a little disappointed in Cronenberg then. Because that's something I wanted to see on film whenever I inevitably watch the adaptation. So, that should tell you what kind of book this is now, in terms of it being very odd. Here's the problem with recommending this book, though. Not everybody's gonna kind of buy into the journey.
Most people didn't, and
with good reason. I can honestly not say that it's the best book I've ever read. It's a book full of interesting scenes and statements, and I'm enjoying the fact that I'm watching the journey, and it is a novel-length journey of a man going to get a haircut. I'm enjoying this concept and this idea and this character study, but you have to really dig the idea of literally reading 200 pages about somebody who you will not like, and accept that it is a book about somebody that you will hate the entire time. He's a disgusting fucking person, and to be quite honest, I read him as subhuman, and I treat him in my head as subhuman to accept the book that I am reading as what it is. But it's proven engaging for me so far, and in that I say that, you know, with the length that it is, I have no regrets about having bought it and read it anyway, because I got this book for $1 in hardcover at a Rose's 7 years ago, and I'm only finally now reading it. But it's I'm finding it entertaining. I find it funny in a way that only Delillo can do, because I like Delillo's sense of humor. We're talking about a man whom, in the novel White Noise, there's basically a fire, not a fire drill, but the book takes place during an airborne toxic event. The main character teaches Hitler studies at a college, and during a drill, all the students are like leaned over in the hallway like it's a tornado drill, and he has a conversation with another professor, and they compare Elvis Presley to Hitler. And they have a nice long conversation about all the similarities between Elvis and Hitler. I'm not even fucking joking. That is a 5 or 6 page conversation, and it's damn near hilarious, because it's not, that's not a conversation you imagine people having by any means. But the depth of knowledge that is displayed about these two completely opposite human beings, it's fucking hilarious to me. And it's that particular type of unusual that makes his books entertaining to me. Now, that said, I still had trouble with Underworld. Underworld is a very challenging book. This is a little bit easier if you want to give postmodern literature a spin. I'm not saying that you're gonna like it, but with the length of the book being what it is, and how different the narrative is from what you might usually read, it's worth a try. We'll give it that. It's worth a try. I like it. But at the same time, Brandon, I'm not saying that it's something you should give a spin to, because...
Oh, I'm not going to.
I can't even convince you to read Penchant just yet.
You honestly, you never will. I'm not a postmodernist when it comes to literature. Half the time, I wouldn't even understand what the fuck they're saying. I am not that smart. And half the time, I don't know if it's intelligence or just the meandering of a pretentious asshole is what I see most of the time. I am not a fan of literature, so I do not believe I would ever find a postmodernist that I will actually read and truly enjoy.
You see, for me, postmodernists, and specifically Delillo and Penchant, because those other postmodernists who I genuinely can't stand, or I do think they're just too fucking difficult to broach. Like, I do need to give another try to oh shit, what's his name? Who wrote
The Road?
Oh no, not McCarthy. McCarthy's not that. McCarthy's a lot more approachable. The guy who wrote Dubliners and Finnegan's Wake. I'm Googling it because my memory is just shot. James Joyce. James Joyce's I would like to try James Joyce again, but I tried to read The Portrait of an Artist as a Young Man, and it hurt my head. So I am not immune to... I'm not unsympathetic to your statement, Brandon. But I have a certain degree of enjoyment for the writings of Thomas Pynchon and Delillo, because their stories are... Okay, Delillo, you can understand the story, and there's themes and such going on, and you could probably read Delillo without any problem. Pynchon is a horror of a author to read and understand what's going on out the gate, because crazy shit happens in his books. It's really funny. I'll quote my wife. So, we saw Inherent Vice in theaters because I like Pynchon. I had not read Inherent Vice, but we both liked the movie a lot. We both thought the movie was great. And she's like, we have to go buy the book. You know, you want to read it anyway, right? And I was like, yeah, I want to read the book. And she's like, okay, so we bought the book. And she finished reading the book about a week later, and she said, you know what, Brad? If I had not seen the movie, I'm not sure I would have known what any of the things that happened in that book actually were. So, yeah, I get it. I do. I hear you. But at the same time, I enjoy these authors for the level of craft in their writing is impressive to me as a writer myself, and I wish I had the command of the English language that they do. Not saying that I would ever be able to tell a story like Cosmopolis, or, in an extreme example, Gravity's Rainbow, but I would at least have that level of skill in building interesting sentences, because I love the language that's on display in these authors' books. It's one of the things that I find very few genre authors are able to bring a level of craft like that to the table. I've found very few authors in genre fiction that can, which is one of the reasons why I enjoy, like, William Gibson is capable of bringing that level of craft to the page. Rothfuss has a staggeringly high level of writing craft, I think, as well. That's like, if I'm looking for, there's like certain things I look for in writing, and depending on what book it is, I will accept one over the other to a certain extent. Like, I want good writing all the time. I mean, I want good storytelling all the time. Like, don't misunderstand me when I say that, but like, there's books that I'll read for the language, and then there's books I'll read exclusively for the plot and characters. Most of the time it's plot and characters. I want good plot and characters regardless, but if I can draw a degree of understanding, about good writing, then I will read a book for its language rather than its plot and characters. And sometimes, if it's good, you'll get both. But it's sometimes a challenge to get both out of them. Like with Gravity's Rainbow, I wish I could get both out of it. I know that there's stuff in there that I remember enjoying character-wise when I've tried to read it in the past, but the plot never really formed while I was reading it, so I never got that part of the experience. Alright, is that it?
I think so.
Alright. Well, as usual, you can come and enjoy us on our Facebook and Twitter pages to know what's going on and what's coming up from the Z-Trigger podcasts, both Z-Trigger and Expanded Universe alike. And that's at Z-Trigger that's Z-Trigger Live at Facebook or Twitter. You can subscribe to us here on Podbean, or you can come to our YouTube channel, which has been pretty busy lately, with live streams, which is how we record our show now as well. And you can enjoy that as well. You can get more of our sense of humor, which is a thing, I guess, that we have. And enjoy some live streams of some various video games where we discuss both video games and science fiction, fantasy, horror, and occasionally postmodern literature. But until then, we hope you will come back and enjoy our shows in the future, and good night.
See ya.